in my solitude. You haunt me with reverie of days.
Hello,
gone by.
this is Joyce Donato. You may have forgotten who I am because I haven't done one of these in about 18 years, it feels like. I have been on vacation and I have had a wonderful vacation. It's been needed, taken care of a lot of things. I've stayed quiet, I've had a lot of fun, and it's been a worthwhile, wonderful vacation. But I do realize that the real world is calling. I get on a plane tomorrow and I go to London. And meanwhile, I thought, gosh, I better kind of get back in here with the old video thing and like say hello to you guys again. But the vacation was really welcome because, as you probably know, if you've been following a little bit, it was kind of a crazy season for me, the start to the season. Truly spectacular in so many ways and very intense. So taking some time off was a really good thing. This is hopefully going to continue in the next couple years, that I get little spaces of time so I can stay healthy and stay around for a long time. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I thought a good question to come back would be a question that actually, in different ways and forms, a number of you have written about. And it's that question about, what is life like as an opera singer? And can I handle it? Good question. This actually comes from Brian Gonzales, and he's a master's student. And he says, it's been on my mind a while. I'm an extremely sociable person, and I really thrive on social interaction and in having a close group of friends that I can always rely on and have close by to hang out with or just chat. I keep on hearing from fellow teachers that the life of a professional singer is a lonely one. It's true. And what I need to learn, and that I need to learn to be alone and to not have a social life. How true is this, and how do you cope with it? Yeah. So I bet a lot of you are asking this question. It's a really good one, Brian. I don't know that you have to not have a social life. The thing is, you're going to have an unconventional social life. You're going to have an unconventional life if you go into this and you end up living your dream as an opera singer. That's the reality of it. The sort of bad news is that I don't think you can predict how you will react. I don't think you'll be able to predict whether you can tolerate it or whether you will thrive in it. I think the only way to figure that out is actually to start living it, which is why one of the things I've said over the years is I've always given myself permission to walk away if it became too much. And I've seen friends do that. They get into the life and they say, you know what, this is not for me. And they walk away with a lot of dignity and having learned a lot, and then they find what it is that they're supposed to be doing with their life. And I think that's a really important thing. I don't know anybody that wasn't shocked about what this life is like. And we can tell you about it, and we can try and prepare you for it, but it's only by actually doing it and living it in your shoes and with your temperament that you'll understand whether you're cut out for it or not, or whether it's a life that will in fact be fulfilling, because you want your life to be fulfilling. Even if the dream has shifted a little bit for you, that's okay. One of the things that was hardest for me going from the beginning was I would enter this new production and new set of people, and it's a really intensive thing. The thing about opera rehearsals is, you have to get very intimate with people right from the beginning, not just in an intimate way, but you're in this crowded room, everybody's taking risks, everybody's on kind of a super drive because we're all in this artistic exploratory phase. It's a really exciting thing, and you really make close bonds with people. You have to forge a trust immediately. You have to forge this safe zone where you can really experiment and take the journey of an artist, and that forges real relationships. Oftentimes we're dealing with things in rehearsal that are big issues, and so you go out to dinner and you're talking more about these issues, and you're relying on each other to sort of learn more and more about life. And it becomes a very close, oftentimes, not every time, often, becomes a very close-knit family. And it becomes very real and it becomes very intense oftentimes. What struck me as kind of shocking at the beginning was that then everybody would leave and you think, okay, I'm going to stay, she's my new best friend. He's this like my brother. It's going to be great. And it kind of doesn't sustain outside of that particular production period. And the first few years I was doing this, I thought, oh my gosh, these friendships must not be real. They must be superficial or somehow just temporary. And I didn't like that because then it felt like I wasn't making and nurturing real friendships. So because my old time friends, I was never around. I was always traveling on the road. Well, a couple years pass and you start meeting these singers up in various places around the world. And what's beautiful is, unless you've become a raving lunatic in the meantime, the beautiful thing is that you pick up right where you left off. And you realize that actually there was a real friendship that was born there. It just takes on a different form than what you're used to in your normal life. And so it just is defined in a slightly different way. It's a bit of a shock to your system, I think, when you're dealing with the loneliness, which is a big part of this career. A lot of loneliness is you have a fabulous triumph, or maybe you don't, but at least you're singing and you have that high after the show, and you come home to your kind of grungy apartment because you can't really afford a nice apartment, and so it's kind of a little tiny thing and a little grungy, maybe not in the best part of town, and you're totally alone, and there's nothing in the refrigerator, and everybody else, maybe your best friend had the husband would come visit, somebody else had their voice teacher come visit, and you didn't have anybody there that night. And that sense of aloneness is devastating, and it's cataclysmic, and it's huge because you've been on stage on this big high and you've been having an amazing time, and then all of a sudden you're totally alone. And it's like whiplash. It's like social whiplash. That's the bad news. The good news is that there can be some really beautiful things in that. You have to learn how to be by yourself. And I actually think that's a super incredible, valuable thing to learn. That's where contemplation happens. That's where fortitude happens. That's where you get to continually ask yourself, do I still want to do this? That's where you get to find out what you're really made of. If you're constantly in this buzz of social interaction, you can get sort of caught up in the group mentality of things, which is exciting and fun. And I love that too. I love being in that buzz and that swirl. But there's something to having this sort of forced confinement that makes you continue to go inside yourself and learn about yourself more and more. I know that sounds a little bit hooey, but I think it's an incredibly valuable thing. For me, it's a skill that I've had to learn. I've had to learn how to be on my own. And it took me a long time. And I continue to understand what that means for me. Your life is always shifting and things are always changing in your world. And I think being able to always sort of come back to center, come back to you, is something that will not only serve you as a human being, but of course it's going to serve you on the stage as well, because it's going to be that place of balance. So my kind of general advice is don't panic. Let's say you're living your first amazing year out on your own and it's phenomenal. And you're like, I'm living the dream and I'm miserable because I'm all by myself. Just don't panic. Take some time and look at it as an opportunity to really learn about yourself. You get used to going out to dinner and eating in a restaurant by yourself. Or maybe not. Some people don't like that. I can do it. I bring a book and I have a glass of wine and I'm eating whatever I eat. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I really like that. I also like it because then the next night I'm out with a big group of really interesting, fascinating people that I've known over the years, and we're catching up over the last few years of our life. So it's a real kind of pendulum swing of interaction and isolation. And it's exactly what we live on stage. We're in this ensemble piece and it's amazing. And then all of a sudden you're there for the aria and you're totally on stage all by yourself. So we have to do that as artists as well. It's not a life that everybody is cut out for. Even if you are cut out for it, I think I thrive in this life, but there are still moments that are utterly overwhelming. And you can, out of the blue, be knocked for a real loop and really be thrown off your center. And you sit here and think, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? And you come back and you evaluate. Say, do I want to still continue to do this or do I not? And you'll come up with an answer that is yours. Practical things, get really good at being authentic with people. There can be a lot of superficial, oh, hi, you look great, you sounded fabulous. Has she lost weight? There can be, is she gained weight? I've been on vacation. But there can be this really sort of superficiality of it. Oh, you sound great. I think you're going to do yourself a big favor if you can get really authentic. Again, to survive in this kind of life, but also just to have a more real experience as a human being. Get really authentic. Make sure that you are living a life outside of the world of opera, which can be really challenging when you're in a big production, you're busy, all these kinds of things are happening. Get really concentrated on a life outside as well, that a life that is sustainable off of the stage. And get really good at being generous with the people around you, because I think that's going to serve you really well in building real friendships that then you can lean on when you're on your own. Okay? Skype is good, obviously. That's a lifesaver in this business. When I was your age, we didn't have Skype. So that's a real a good thing that has come into it. So, this is way too long. I'm so sorry. I know they say in YouTube it should only be like 3 minutes because people by now, you lose interest. But there's a lot to talk about it, and it's scary. Seek out people that are like-minded and positive and supportive, and you'll get through it. And if you hit a roadblock that you just can't quite seem to surpass, it's okay. You can take another road, and you can take another option and thrive and be happy knowing that you went for it as long as you could. There's no guarantees, and there's no preparing for it. You just got to jump in and do it. So I hope that helps a little bit. If not, I don't know. I will say, if you're still listening, there's going to be some really exciting stuff coming up here in the next couple weeks. So I'll be doing some more videos and calling on you guys, but that'll come in a little bit. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and happiness and joy in everything you guys do.